Welcome to the Money Market Show. I'm your host, Paula Joy. By the way, if you've been watching this show, and it's going to get to places, it's going to go places, right? So, like it and subscribe. Subscribe so that when we have something new, you'll be the first to know. Today with me, I am in San Mateo. By the way, it's a beautiful part of the Bay, and it's a lovely day, and I'm here with one of the top agents in the Bay Area. He's been doing this since 2003. His name is Rawls, originally from Texas, a little town in Texas, but here in big town, San Mateo in San Francisco Bay Area. He is a top agent in this area. So if you think of buying a property, hey, nice buyer's market, I think it looks like that. Talk to Kyle. Or you think you're selling, before it goes down a little bit, okay, I don't know. You need to talk to Kyle. Or you think of investing, maybe you want to invest in Texas. Yeah, a lot of people move to Texas, buying there. Sell your property here or refinance it here, go buy in Texas or Florida. So welcome to the show. Again, I'm your host, Paula Joy. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rawls.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. I appreciate it.
Good. So great. Okay, let's talk about you. You were telling me you're from which part of?
Yeah, I grew up in Lubbock, Texas, small town.
Never heard of it.
Middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Texas Tech University is there. I grew up there, and then of course I got my real estate license there in 2003.
Really?
Yeah.
So you still have that license or no?
I do. I still carry an active Texas license.
Wow, that's great. So,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I'm talking some big shot here, because a lot of people are moving from here to Texas.
Texas market is also fairly strong right now. It's been, for the last 10 years or so, it's been really strong.
So
there.
your license is in Texas and in California, any other states?
Minnesota. I was licensed in Minnesota from 2012 until 2016 or 17.
I don't see a lot of people move from here to Minnesota. It's cold over there.
It is very cold. It's quite the change in temperature, and of course totally different from here. So,
But have you had any sales from people from here buying in Minnesota or what?
not necessarily buying in Minnesota, but I still have lots of connections there. So I actually have some referrals moving from Minnesota to the Bay Area.
Oh,
so
my
I've
goodness.
had a few referrals this year coming this direction.
Are those people working in tech or what?
No, surprisingly not. Everybody here, you ask what they do, and everybody
Yeah.
works in tech, but
Oh,
surprisingly...
they hate the weather over there.
I know, it's quite the change. Yeah.
Okay, so when did you move to California?
I moved to California in 2015, September 2015.
You're fairly new here.
Yeah, I've been here for about 7 years.
How long have you been licensed in California?
7 years.
Why California?
My husband got a job over at Facebook,
Okay.
and now has kind of moved on through there and
Okay.
stuff like that. So high tech
Okay.
brought us to the Bay Area in 2015.
Wow, so you live in San Mateo?
I live in Redwood City.
Oh, Redwood City.
Yeah.
Okay, so Facebook is right there.
Yeah, super close.
Wow, okay, so you moved here in 2015, and how do you like it?
I love being here in the Bay Area. Of course, the weather is fantastic.
Okay.
The people are great.
Yes.
I love living here in the Bay Area. It's a totally different real estate market than anything I've ever been a part of.
Right.
But it's been nice because I've been able to kind of take aspects of like first-time home buyers in
Yes.
Texas,
Yes.
and then like luxury condos in Minneapolis, and kind of blend it all together and kind of form like a really great
Wow.
Bay Area buying program.
Wow, then interesting. Okay, now, what's your market? Where do you sell?
Yeah,
You sell
our
all
main
over the Bay
service
Area or what?
areas are from Hillsborough down to Atherton. That's
Yes.
kind of our bread and butter.
Right.
Our office is based out of San Mateo. We have our office in Burlingame. But this year, the Bay Area's gotten so expensive. So
Right.
many of our clients are kind of moving away. So
Right.
we've done some stuff in the North Bay, Napa, Healdsburg, Sonoma.
Right.
We've done some stuff in the East Bay, Oakland,
Yes.
and then South Bay. We've done some San Jose condos and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we're kind of all over, but our bread and butter is Hillsborough to Atherton.
Okay, in Hillsborough, I sold a property there back then, for less than $1 million, right? It was a bank-owned property, and they had a plan, for 4,500 square foot home. And somebody picked it up, a contractor picked it up. I wish I did it myself. But Hillsborough is an expensive market.
Yes.
Tell me about Hillsborough.
Hillsborough, I mean, it's funny because, like, you know, I relate everything back to Texas, and,
Yes.
you know, I coach people in Texas, and it's interesting because the real estate market's always the same. It's just here you maybe add an extra zero, right? But the
Right.
fundamentals are all the same. The people are all kind of relatively the same. Hillsborough market, you know, there's fine nuances in there, but
Yes.
it's the same market as San Mateo or Redwood City.
Right. And Belmont, that's another expensive part of.
People go to Belmont because of the schools, right? So
schools.
Belmont's very popular because the school system is fantastic.
I want to ask you another question, right? Because 2 years ago, I was at a seminar that was hosted by the Alameda County Assessor's Office, okay, in Fremont, right? And they were talking about ADUs, right? All these, okay, we had Fremont, Newark, and Union City. People from representatives from those cities were talking about ADUs, right? And at the end of the meeting, I approached one of the guys, and actually during the meeting, he did mention that cities like Belmont that opposed to ADUs. Is that correct?
I think so. I think we're seeing more and more ADUs pop up all over the place, especially, you know, housing is so hard to come across.
Yes.
And, you know, there's a lot of people taking the extra space in their yards and
I think it's the city of Woodside.
Maybe Woodside. I don't do a lot in Woodside.
Okay.
But, you know, I think
Woodside.
Mid-Peninsula
Yes.
is pretty easy to get things approved in terms of ADUs and stuff like that. We're seeing more and more of them pop up.
Right. Okay. So you sell condos here too, or?
Yeah, I mean, condos, single family.
Yes.
We don't do much in the commercial realm. We don't do much in multifamilies as well, but single family and condos is our bread and butter as well.
Okay. I know that East Bay and stuff. People are moving from here to the East Bay. For example, I'm in Newark. Okay, so we just cross the bridge, the Dunbarton Bridge, and you're there. And you guys here in San Mateo just cross the San Mateo Bridge, and you're in Haywood.
Yep.
And the average price here in Haywood is only $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. The average price in Newark is $1.5 million. So have you seen a lot of movement from here to Haywood?
Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of movement from Mid-Peninsula because,
Yeah.
of course, you know, during COVID, and I mean, our trajectory for the last 10 years, the prices have just continued to increase.
Yes.
The last year and a half has been insane. It's been very tough for buyers to kind of get into the market. So when things have gotten so expensive here,
Yes.
what we have seen is a movement, especially when people are working from home and they're allowed to kind of work wherever, work remote.
Yes.
People have been flexible in moving to Sacramento area or whatever. Now they're kind of going back
they
and
have
forth.
Brentwood and
Yeah.
Oakley are looking
Yeah.
at the average prices over there, basically a huge home,
Yeah.
and it's $800,000. And so if you work at Facebook, you work at any of these companies, you can actually go live over there and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
right?
now companies are calling people back.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, you know, when COVID first happened
Yes.
in 2020, you know, the condo market kind of took a dip.
Yes.
And then it kind of, as people were getting priced out of the first-time home buyers, now we're seeing the condo market kind of take another increase
Right.
because people were getting priced out. Now they're going back to the condo market. You know, COVID's kind of calming down. People are okay with going back to vertical living.
Right.
So the condo market is kind of going back up, especially in Santa Clara County. You look at condos in Santa Clara County,
Okay.
they're just going crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think it's because of the price point. You still get a little bit more bang for your buck, and people are still being priced out of the Mid-Peninsula. So it's very easy to go next door to Santa Clara County.
You mentioned that companies are calling people back, and I know this is Silicon Valley, right? You
Yep.
guys are Silicon Valley too, right? And Facebook, I mean, from Newark to here, I had to go through Facebook over there. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like it's on the whole street. So have you seen that trend that even though most people want to work, I mean, they're used to working from their homes, right? And you said the companies are calling people back. Do they like it? I mean, I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't
know, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting. You know, there's mixed things where, you know, some companies are calling people in 2 to 3 days a week. Some
Yes.
are more. Some are more flexible.
Right.
Some companies are still allowing you to live out of state. So it's really kind of company specific. But, you know, from the people that I talk to, I think there's a lot of people who've been with the company for a while who are super excited to kind of be in the remote working environment. And then there's people who are starting at these companies who really kind of want that back in the office atmosphere.
Yes.
And so I think it's a mixed bag of emotions right now in terms of like going back to the office and what that looks like. So I think you're kind of seeing 50-50 right now, but I think we'll get back to the more.
Okay, we've seen a big jump in the value of real estate, right? From 2012 all the way to now. That's 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little over 10 years now. What do you see right now happening to prices here on the peninsula?
Yeah, so what's interesting with prices right now, of course, interest rates are going up. The stock market is kind of fluctuating right now. I think, 2, 3, 4 months ago, prices were still going insane. What we've kind of seen since interest rates have started going up is, multiple offers. 2 months ago, even 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, things were getting 20 offers.
Yes.
And in some cases, we're selling $500 to $1 million over.
Right.
I think what we've seen in the last little bit is there's been a little bit of hesitation in the market. There's been a little bit of step back from buyers. Interest rates, of course, are taking a few people out of the market because 2% interest rate increase is quite a bit of money when you're talking about $1.5 million property. So I think there has been some hesitation there. First-time homebuyer market is still really strong.
Okay.
That middle ground is kind of where we're seeing the biggest kind of like pause, and then like luxury market I think is still moving fairly quickly. So what's interesting is like for the last 2.5 weeks, this has been the first time in this market that I've been here in 7 years where I have listing agents calling me being like, hey, I know you showed my property. Give me some feedback. What are you thinking? Can you bring us any offers? Like we're looking at stuff. We're seeing a few price reductions.
Yes.
So I think like right now is the biggest opportunity that buyers have had in the last few years, right? Yes, interest rates are increasing, but what we're seeing is the rate for like multiple offers and stuff like that is down. It's decreased there. And then like the amount that things are selling, list price to sales price, is actually down in some cases too.
Yes.
So that makes up for that difference in the interest rate there. So I think right now is the biggest opportunity that buyers have had in years within the Bay Area market, right? And so I think it's a huge opportunity that buyers need to be taking advantage of. I think, right now our relationships with our vendor partners and our lenders is super important because with interest rates on the flux, you have to stay in communication with them almost on a daily basis to say like, okay, 2 months ago I was approved for this amount with this interest rate. Now what is that looking like if I'm approved for the same amount but interest rates have gone up? Like what does that mean for my purchasing power? So I think it's been a very interesting kind of market in the last month.
Well, I've heard of cases where buyers are actually walking away from, offers that they made on properties.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen that. I've seen some properties come back on the market, and of course, I call the agent and kind of figure out what's going on. Many of our buyers have not been in that situation just because we are doing such a good job in educating them up front. I mean, when we start with them, our buyer strategy sessions, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours of just
Talk to me about that. What is that?
Yeah, so it's when somebody gets a referral to us or we're brand new starting a conversation with somebody, we have to let them know like exactly what we're seeing in the market. We spend a lot of time, we're micro market based, and so we spend a lot of time with details and stuff like that about like what we're seeing in the market, what we're going through, and then of course we go through the strategy session of what are you looking for, bedrooms, bathrooms, and stuff like that. But we spend a good chunk of time on talking about the process and getting pre-approved and underwritten for the loan, and what does that look like, and going through disclosures because 2 months ago our market was moving so fast. I mean, our average days on market is still in some cases 10. So it's still moving very quickly. So we're having to do such a fine job in talking with these buyers. We have to make sure that they're ready, willing, and able, but they can also be competitive. So competitive has changed in the last month or so. Before it was, here's what we're seeing, here's where things are selling for. And now it's, here's kind of the fluctuation that's been happening in the market. We want to make sure you're not overpaying, or we want to make sure that we're still going in with a good offer, right? So we look at comps. I'm diving into those numbers on a weekly basis. I'm previewing properties every week. I mean, this week I've been in 45 homes and it's Friday.
Really?
So we keep a list of everything that we've kind of gone through. I think it's so important for our buyers to know that we're touring those inventory for them, that we're making notes on them. So sometimes our buyers will call us when something hits the market and I've already been through it, right? So then I can go through and say like, here's why I don't think it's a good match for you. Here's why I think it's a really great match and we need to go check it out. But that strategy session is super important because what we have found is that the buyers who will go through that with us, they listen, they know what we're talking about. We go through the grand tour. We go and kind of show them some areas before we ever get started. That might be 3 or 4 hours where we're just touring neighborhoods. People who live in the Bay Area, they're like, oh, I didn't even know this neighborhood was here. But then people who are moving here, they have no idea what's going on. And Redwood City is totally different from San Carlos. San Carlos is totally different from Belmont. So we know the micro markets, we know the microclimates within each area, and so it's super important for buyers, especially in this market, where things are shifting in a way. We have to stay on top of our game to know what's happening week by week.
You're touring 45 properties a week. So are you a buyer's agent or you?
I am primarily a buyer's agent.
Okay.
I spend about 97% of my time
Okay.
working with buyers and doing open houses and stuff like that. I really love it.
Yes.
My job is primarily a buyer's agent, so I'm always touring properties and doing that for our buyers. Yeah.
Okay, cool. How about investors? Okay, is this a market to invest in, the Peninsula?
It's always a strong time to invest, right? So I think again, right now is the biggest opportunity for investors that we've seen in quite some time, because investors can be competitive again.
Right.
I think what we have been seeing in the last few years is a lot of investors are selling their properties and doing 1031 exchanges to get
Right.
into others. So I think right now it's a great time to invest.
Right.
It's a great time to buy. It's still a good time to sell.
Right.
A lot of people have been kind of hesitant to put their house on the market because they think maybe it's the market that was 2 months ago where they're
Right.
going to put on the market and get $1 million over asking price. Not necessarily exactly the case, but the ones that are ready, the ones that are done, the ones that are basically put your toothbrush in and move in your clothes, those are the ones that are still selling, and they're selling quickly, right? So as a seller, right now is super important to go through and do those things, to stage the property, to do all those things, because the buyer still wants done. They don't have the time to come through and do the renovation because maybe they're still working from home. Maybe their kids are still home from school or whatever that looks like. So, people are still looking for a lot of those flex spaces.
Right.
And they don't have the time to kind of come through and find a property and then spend however long it takes to renovate it, because supply chain, there's still issues there. So I think for the most part, the buyers that we're talking to, they still want that done property and they're willing to pay for it. And so as a listing agent, it's super important to kind of still go through that process, to still go through and fix the home up to be ready, so that way you get the largest audience.
Okay, so as we said before, the market's gone up quite a bit. In some places, it's tripled in value, right? Some places, especially East Bay, right, triple in value. Okay, I'm from Newark again. I'm from Newark, and the average price there in Newark in 2012 February. I track every market in the Bay Area. Every market took off 2012. So the average price in Newark was only for a single-family residence, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, was only $352,000.
Yeah.
The average price now is 1.5.
Yeah.
The average price in Newark, in Fremont, next door, was only $523,000. And the average price right now is $1.8 million. Same house, okay, in 10 years. So how about this market here? Have you seen that kind of increase?
Yeah, I mean, our market is always continuing to go up,
Yeah.
right? We've gone through these processes where, yes, we see little blips in the market, but
Yes.
if you look at the last 10 years collectively, you ask people who bought in 2012, or are they upset, or were they angry that they purchased at the height of the market? No, of course not. And so, I mean, when we're doing open houses and we're doing some of these things, the first time, when we go to the process of hitting the market, the first time we have our neighbors only invite preview, and there I'm always asking the neighbors how long they've been in the neighborhood, what do they love about it, trying to get some of the scoop. And even people who bought 2-3 years ago, yeah, it was painful for them at that point to kind of stretch to that limit or whatever, but now you talk to them about, are you mad that you bought then, or no, of course not, because values have continued to increase. I think what we're still going to see over the next few years is values will continue to increase, because this is not the recession that we had in 2008, not at all.
Right.
But if you look at numbers, they're still expected to increase, maybe single digits. It's not going to be crazy, but the market's still going to continue to go up. So that's why, again, real estate's always a secure investment.
Yeah, I remember I used to invest over here. I remember back in 2000, I think it was 2010, we bought a small house. We used to buy properties from banks, but a small house in Redwood City. And we sold it for less than $400,000, right? Yeah. Back then, the person that saw it, I guess she saw the opportunity. She just bought it, and used FHA, even though it could not be qualified for FHA. She still had it done. We sold a duplex, also in San Mateo, for less than $500,000. I have to go back to all these properties I sold. Sold a huge property, 2,600 square feet, also in San Mateo, right the other side of highway, and that one. It was a struggle to sell for $700,000. We dropped the price to we sold it, eventually sold it for $593,000. That property is like $2 million, so I know what you're saying. So now people have a ton of equity in their homes, and you're from Texas, right? So what I tell people, the equity you don't realize until you take it out.
Right.
Right, so what are you gonna do, okay? So you either sell the property or you refinance. But if people really want to enjoy their money, right, all that, their homes are a bank, right? They take the money out and go buy in Texas, go buy in Florida. Beautiful. I mean, look at Florida. It's beautiful. I don't know about Texas, but Florida is really beautiful. would you agree?
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's water all over the place. But they could buy properties in places like Ocala, and even Miami, for goodness sakes, for less than $500,000,
Yeah.
and they'll get people renting the property right away. And guess what? They don't have to buy all cash. They really don't. They don't even need to qualify. We don't need that financial. We don't need anything because it is what they call DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, 15% down. So you can take some money out of properties over here. And the other day I met a lender. Okay, they do. It's a credit union. They for just less than 3%, you can get a line of credit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So people should be taking money, and that's good for you guys, as because you're providing additional value to your clients.
Yeah.
This is a time to go back. Would you agree? A lot of agents that sell one property and that's it, they're gone, right? But then provide additional value to the clients,
Right.
right? So would you agree with me that this is a good time for them to go back to their clients and say, hey, have you tried to invest out of state?
I think it's a fantastic time to invest out of
Yeah.
state. I think I'm an investor as well. I have a few properties in Texas and we
Yes.
Airbnb them out.
Yes.
I think even now there's been opportunities for Furnished Finder where you're
Yes.
renting to travel nurses or whatever who are
Yes.
doing longer extended
Yes.
rental periods there.
Yes.
But I think it's a really good opportunity no matter where you are to invest in property, right? People always need housing. People always need shelter. So real estate's a great place to invest, and there are areas where you can still buy a really nice place for under 500 and even under 300 and in some cases under 200. So I think there are opportunities
Minnesota,
there.
I guess.
Yeah, in Minnesota you can. I mean, the prices in Minnesota are also crazy, but there's places in Texas
Yes.
in Lubbock where I grew up.
Okay,
The
okay.
average price there is still under 300,000.
How do they build those things? It's like Home Depot. It's the same Home Depot, right?
Yeah.
How did they build them so cheap in those areas? I mean, I can't believe it. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's say the last thing we're going to talk about is ADUs, right?
Yeah.
So that's becoming very popular nowadays, accessory dwelling units. And you see on the Peninsula, it's so crowded here.
Yeah.
Do you see the trend right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's lots of opportunities for people to be building ADUs. I've sold a lot of houses in Redwood City where they have ADUs. One of my clients actually rents out their ADU to some Stanford people, and they do longer things, and their ADU actually almost covers their mortgage.
Yeah.
I have another client in San Mateo in North Shoreview.
Yes.
She's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
She has a small house on the front yard, but her lot is massive. So she's taking the opportunity to build a 1-bedroom, 1-bath accessory dwelling unit. And of course, now the planning process has gotten so much easier.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's almost over the counter.
yeah, it's so much
Yeah.
easier. There's a whole booklet that our team provides to all of our clients in terms of what is it going to take in this city? What is the process? How do you go about planning it? What should you consider in finishes? There's so many things that kind of go into it, but the process is so much easier.
Yeah.
And if you have the space on your lot, it makes total sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what's also interesting is especially now during COVID, and there's been a lot of opportunities for people to build offices on the exterior of their places too, which could potentially eventually become an ADU.
Right. So cool. Our show is about agents, right? Real estate agents, especially top agents. Like you are probably a whale or something. That means you sold 25 properties or more. That's a whale. A tilapia, somebody sold. It's a small fish, a smaller fish, right? 8 to 12 properties, and a tuna is 13 to 24 properties. What are you? You don't want to say. You don't have to say. Okay. Well, you know what I'm saying. So the thing is, we want to really inspire agents, right? So others are watching this. Maybe they're watching this. You're watching this, and we want. Maybe you're not a tilapia yet. You're closing 2 deals a year. Okay. Watch this show, and you close more. You become a tilapia. And if you're a tilapia, you want to get to the next level, which is a tuna, a bigger fish, right? I love tuna. It's a good sushi. And then you watch this show because we're going to bring people like Kyle here, and others that are really making it and doing it here. Today you learned basically 2 things, right? Basically, people have a ton of equity in their homes in the Bay Area. And so with the equity in their homes in the Bay Area, they can go and invest somewhere else. Might not even have to be out of state. It can be Sacramento, it can be Stockton, it can be Bakersfield, stuff like that. It can be Southern California, Riverside. That's one thing. That's where you can go back to your clients and say, have you thought about doing this? You provide value, right? Go back. This is a touch point for you. Then another one we'll talk about ADU. I mean, have you gone back to a client, and when you sold a house, what was the square footage of the house? And there's a reason for you to go back to that client and say, did you know about ADUs? Can I help you with that? And stuff like that, right? So that's great. So this is, provided this is for real estate agents that we really want to inspire them to do it better. What has contributed to your success?
I think success-wise, I think is always just kind of being in touch with the other agents who are in the industry, finding a good mentor, finding someone who you can ask questions to, finding someone who can help you along the way. I was a coach for a few years as well. I'm always available. I coach the other agents on my team as well. So I think just find a good mentor, find a good relationship, because you are kind of the sum of the 5 people you hang around. Mm-hmm. So surround yourself.
6.
5 or 6. Whatever the number is. If it's 5, do 5. It could be 2. But surround yourself by those people.
Yes.
Immerse yourself in the knowledge, tour the inventory. That's the biggest thing. When I very first started here in the industry, I was always going out on tour, and I still go out on tour, mm-hmm. but that's where I build the relationships with these agents who mm-hmm. I'm on the other side of the table with. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're starting the conversations with the agents. If we've got a client who's interested in that property, that's when I'm going through and finding out what's going to make the seller happy about this. What are they hoping for? But then it's also that listing agent's time to get to know me, mm-hmm. And get to know who I am and how we're going to do this deal. So that way, when we bring the offer to the table, mm-hmm. they already know who I am. Mm-hmm. And so then it's building that reputation. It's getting things closed. It's doing things at such a high level that the next time you have something, that agent's going to go to bat for you mm-hmm. if you're not the mm-hmm. highest mm-hmm. offer. Mm-hmm. To say, I've done deals with this guy. Mm-hmm. They can get the job done. Mm-hmm. Their team is fantastic. Mm-hmm. They always answer their phone. Mm-hmm. I answer my phone all the time. Mm-hmm. It could be a spam call. Mm-hmm. I answer it. Mm-hmm. But I want people to know that I'm available. I want the clients to know that I'm available. I want the other agents to know that I'm available. Because your reputation is everything. Mm-hmm. And I plan to be in this business for quite some time.
That's good.
More. I've been in it since 2003, so I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
You enjoy it.
But your reputation is everything. Yeah. Your education is everything. Yeah. Nobody can take that away from you.
So what do you like most about, you could have been a high-tech person or whatever.
No, I couldn't.
What was your degree in?
I actually have a degree in music.
Oh, music!
Yeah.
So you play music?
It's a vocal performance. I was a singer all through college. Okay. I'm clearly not doing that in real estate.
No, you could you could do that in an open house.
Yeah. When it's vacant, you never know. It's a great time to have a concert. Vacant house is
it could be something come to my open house. Yeah. You have a good voice.
Yeah, so I have a degree in music. Okay. My family's been in real estate for my entire life. My mom was also a realtor in Texas, so I've got the background there. Right. But I have a degree in music and a degree in business. So kind of how do you blend the two and come out with a great
Now I want you to talk to the sellers, right? So sellers listen to you right now. Why should they give you a business?
Well, I think like I said earlier, I think right now is a perfect time for sellers just as much as it has been. I think, for us and our team, we come through and we beautify a property before we put it on the market, whether that be a small project like the one we're currently sitting in or a complete remodel, right? We've done several complete remodels along the Peninsula. I think it's a really fantastic time to still sell. I think it's a really fantastic time to still buy. The market is still great. So sellers, if you have been thinking about selling or maybe just thinking about investing in other parts of the country and you just want to know what your options are, we're happy to talk to people. We've talked sellers out of selling. And
really?
Talk to them about maybe renting. How do you leverage the property that you already have into multiple streams of income, right? So I think there's opportunities for everybody out there. Lots of agents. There's still opportunities for agents, both new and seasoned, right?
Now let's talk about, talk to buyers. Talk to buyers.
Well, I think right now is the biggest opportunity that buyers have had in years in the Peninsula. Yes, interest rates are increasing, but inventory is also increasing. We've seen more inventory in the last 4 months than we have in a long period of time. So right now is a really good opportunity to buy. And I think, that's why we like partnering with buyers, especially first-time home buyers, and educating them through the process and walking them through step by step of what it's going to take. And a lot of our buyers, when they come through and they talk with us at the end of it, they really like that we spend so much time going through up front because it saves us time on the back end. We're not having to tour 40 properties if there's 40 properties available. we do such a good job in our buyer consult and strategy session that we may show you 2 or 3 and may not, a lot of times people are like, I don't want to make the offer on the first one that I see because there might be something better. There's always going to be something better, right? But like capitalizing on the opportunity. Right now there's a huge opportunity in this market, an opportunity that buyers haven't seen in a long time.
Okay, last thing I want to talk about today is for self-employed people. A lot of agents don't take advantage of self-employed people.
Yeah.
They don't know. Maybe because they don't know. Okay, I've been in the industry since 2005. I ran a big brokerage firm in Newark, until about 2000. I think during the pandemic, that's why I started going to the money market. So I'm mostly focused on loans right now, okay, and helping. And my mission is basically how can I help real estate agents do even better, okay? Because I know real estate like the back of my hand, but I didn't know much about loans until I realized, my goodness, okay, when I started this company, the money market, it was because I was selling properties in Oakland for less than $200,000, and we were buying properties for less than $100,000 fix up. At that time, my materials were not very expensive, so we spent like $50,000 to fix up, and we're selling for $165,000, and we're getting the money from the government to put down as down payment. Fast forward, okay, the market and those properties doubled, tripled, quadrupled in value. 2017. I go, knock on the door. Would you like to sell a property? Now you gain so much equity. No. Where would I go? Everything, we fix them up really well because we're taking them from dereliction to perfection. So I thought, man, okay, how about I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. That's why I created the money market, and it really took off during the pandemic. And then now I realize some of the things I could have done, right? And nobody told me about loans for self-employed people. Okay, because lots of self-employed people, they don't need to use the tax returns. No W-2s required. So you have contractors, you have doctors who are 1099. Somebody just told me, I did a presentation in Bellingham the other day, last Friday, and the doctor, a lot of doctors are opting for 1099s, okay, instead of doing W-2. And so a doctor is 1099 instead of W-2, therefore you can't go to Bank of America and get them qualified. You can't go to Chase, you can't get all these, okay? But we can get them qualified, only 10% down, right? How about the average person selling at a strip mall, right? They don't have W-2. They might get 1099. It's like, if you go to Safeway, you see those people are selling the sushi, right? And all that kind of stuff, sushi bars and stuff, right? Safeway might be giving them 1099. They just use that, they have a kiosk inside Safeway, but they make a lot of money. Those people cannot get conventional loans. They cannot get the QM loans. Kyle, I talked about real estate agents, it's a challenging market. It could be, first of all, if you have very little inventory, right, and you have many buyers, right, and very few sellers, I don't care whether it is, really in the Bay Area, you're gonna always have that problem, right? And we talked about different ways that agents can boost their business. And the last thing I want to talk about is, how to, actually target people who are self-employed. There are a lot of self-employed people. Okay, small businesses are the one that really fuel this economy, right? And a lot of agents, really, I don't think they make that their target, right? Everybody's targeting, single-family residences. Everybody's targeting people that live in those single-family residences, but they don't know what caliber of people are those people, right? Not everybody is W-2. A lot of people are 1099. So I'm sure if you went and door knocked, one of those shops, a restaurant or something, nobody will say, what are you doing here? Do you think that agents, this is my thought, do you think that agents are missing out by not targeting self-employed people?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity with people, it goes back to the agent and just knowing who your resources are, knowing who your vendor partners are, and just making sure that you have the knowledge and you have those resources available, because I want to make sure that if I run into some of those people that I'm sending them to the right spot, right? And so even when we're talking with our buyers through that conversation, we're figuring out what are their needs, right? Because not everybody, like you were saying, not everybody is very strict W-2. They have every 2 weeks they get this. And so by going through and really understanding what that client is looking for, we can then pinpoint and pull from our lender resources and say, here's an opportunity for you. I didn't buy my house with a 20% down loan, right? And so just having those resources and being able to know, okay, maybe I don't go with XYZ Bank because they're very set and structured within 20% down and this amount in reserves and this whatever that is. You know, so if you have like different resources that you can pull from in that bank to kind of say, okay, this guy I know does this, or this lady over here can help with this situation, I think it opens up the door to those 1099 employees who are a big chunk of people. There's an opportunity there. So I think it really just comes down to us knowing what resources are available.
And I would say, for example, doctors, some doctors right now working at Kaiser, other places, ends up a lot of money going to Uncle Sam. They decide to opt out of that so they can basically control their money. And so some of those, like I was saying, basically I did a presentation over there in Burlingame last Friday, and in that, this is the top office in the area, and they were telling me that the doctor was qualified by Bank of America with 10% down, you know, but when it came to you know, so she just quit she didn't quit her job, but she just became a 1099 employee, and Bank of America couldn't do that, right? So how many other people are out there, self-employed people, you know, contractors, dentists, and all these people are working themselves? I think basically it's an opportunity for agents to go out, and some of those people might even buy out of state. Maybe they don't have a house here, right? So if you have very little inventory, you know, and you're working full-time as a real estate agent, if you concentrate on all the what you sell here in the Bay Area, you might starve. Maybe if you use the people here in the Bay Area and say, listen, doctor, dentist, or Facebook guy, whatever, Google guy, you know, have you ever thought about investing somewhere else out of state? Then you not only are you creating value for them, but you're creating some good value for yourself. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have referral connections all the way throughout the country. So like, yes, our specialization is here, but our team, we have networks of people who we trust, who are just like our team, who we know they kind of function just like our team, and they do have like high levels of standards. We know all those people throughout the country. And I think that just opening the door to say there is opportunity elsewhere, that's massive.
Good. So Kyle, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Is there any last thing that we're going to say besides you hiring more agents?
We are always looking for agents. We're always looking for talent. We're always looking for people. I think, like, again, just like seize the opportunity, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller, whether you're an agent, just to ask questions. You've got my contact information. So of course, if anybody's interested, reach out to me. I'm happy to just have a conversation with anybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So you listen, I told you basically every time we have these interviews, right, we don't disappoint because we give some meat, not just milk. Okay. And so if you're an agent and you're watching this, I'm sure you want to be part of this, right? I want to interview you, especially if you're a top agent, right? You're producing 8 buyer sites a year. All right. We're going to get you to 13. That means from tilapia to tuna. And if you're tuna now, producing between at 13 and 24, want to get you to a whale, and you're a whale, you still need help, right? Maybe you want to become a unicorn. I don't know. That's not a fish, man. It's all good, you know. So, but anyways, it's not just about you, right? We want to help you, but we want to create something of value. So we want to interview as many agents as possible, so that, you know, you can go to our website. I mean, not our website. You go to our channel, you know, and share, right? By the way, if you like what you've seen today, if you like this interview, please subscribe, so that every week, we have new people we're going to interview on this channel. And then if you have a comment, by all means, if you didn't like something, also comment. If you like something, say, Paul, let's do it together, right? Good. So be part of something bigger than yourself. That's the essence of this stuff. So you're not just selling properties, you know, which is a good thing, by the way, but it's actually creating something big. So become part of this ecosystem we're trying to build. And by the way, if you can't wait to be interviewed, please just comment below and leave your number. Or maybe you don't want to leave your number there. Why not? You're an agent. You should leave your number in. You know, you can call me at 415-510-0127, and the message is on the screen here too. And we were more than happy to come and interview you at your lovely place or wherever you want. Maybe in your office, or as we did for Kyle here today in his lovely listing. We want to help grow your business unselfishly. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Paul LaJoy, and see you next time.